Well, Donald Trump is speaking live in Pennsylvania. I'm going to go to it right here at the start of the show. I wasn't interested when he came out because the caption on Fox News says Trump is giving a speech about affordability. I'm like, that means nothing. That's like in the beer commercials when they're like, it's drinkability. Yeah, right. Miller Lite ranks highest in drinkability. Like that doesn't even mean anything. Oh, affordability. Yeah. But I was watching it on your behalf, and right before the James show started, he dropped a little gem about the situation in the Strait of Hormuz that's going on with, Iran and all that. And check out the number here. The amount of oil that went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday.
We had a great meeting. But as you know, we just achieved a historic peace agreement with Iran to end the conflict in the Strait of Hormuz. And by the way, yesterday, 19 million barrels of oil flowed out of the Strait of Hormuz, a very beautiful place. That's the most oil in the history of the Strait. No, it's never been any, you've never seen anything like that. It's called an oil gush. And most importantly, we are ensuring one thing very importantly, because this is why I did it. I did it for this reason, 99% for this. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that.
All right, you talked about Iran a lot after that. I'll monitor on the break if it says anything else I think you would be interested in. I'll play it in the next segment. But my top story today, besides Trump dropping a gem on us right before the show started, Karmelo Anthony's appealing. Look, I hope we never have to talk about this story again, but I think we do. The appeal comes right about the same time. I mean, just within hours of some extra evidence finally being released to the public. And I understand why all the body cam footage doesn't get released until after the trial's over. I mean, we see all this. How could you argue anything other than, this would completely taint a jury? This would affect people's opinion of what happened on that day. So look, I kind of get it. But also, it really just affirms what you thought happened that day. It clearly confirms the murder verdict. He was trying to leave the scene and sneak out with the crowd. That's not what you do if you're innocent. That's not what you do if it was self-defense or you thought it was self-defense. So he didn't give himself up to cops like Kyle Rittenhouse did. Kyle Rittenhouse went right up to the cops. He's like, oh my God, I had to shoot this guy in self-defense. They're like, well, tell me about it. What happened? Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, go ahead. But no, he was trying to get away. If he thought in his heart that was self-defense, would he be trying to get away? Now, that doesn't mean I know it's in his heart, but that is evidence toward what the verdict came down. He wasn't upset when the cops first caught him. He wasn't upset like, oh my God, I killed somebody. He was straight-faced, just trying to sneak out. That's what a cold-blooded sociopath would do. And when the cops did stop him, blocked his path, come here, and they had to physically detain him. Did he say he was scared? No, he didn't. Did he say he was worried about his safety? Did he say his life, he felt like his life was in danger? No, he didn't say any of that. He admitted provoking and escalating the conflict. He said, I told him not to touch me. That is not what a scared person says. That is not what a self-defense says. Couple pieces of audio that are new. I was just protecting myself. Here's one.
And I'm just protecting myself.
Where do you want me?
I was just protecting myself. Here's another part of the Karmelo body cam. So he didn't cry after he stabbed a fellow human being in the heart. He didn't cry when he saw, because it had to be a bloody affair, someone getting stabbed in the heart. He didn't cry when he saw the blood. He didn't cry when he realized he had killed somebody. He didn't cry when he was trying to sneak out. He didn't cry when he was caught. He cried when it dawned on him that the cop didn't see it his way and he was going to be punished for murder. Then the tears started flowing. Now, I'm not saying these are fake tears, but these aren't tears for Austin Metcalf. This is tears Karmelo Anthony has because he's realized he's probably going to prison.
Memorial tent over there, guys. All right.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
What's happening right now? Victim is over here on the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect.
And this is a crucial piece of evidence. He put his hands on me. Not he hurt me or he attacked me or he hit me or I was scared or he threatened me or I felt like my life was threatened. None of that. He put his hands on me. Karmelo is telling you he stabbed him in the heart because he felt disrespected. He told someone not to put his hands on him. He put his hands on him, and that's why he did what he did. That is murder. And then also when he gets put in the car, after the crying thing, this is like 2 minutes later. Check out how calmly the sociopath is spelling out his name for the cop taking notes.
What's your name, man?
Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo.
Yeah, just back to being calm again. Here's the ugly part. You know, now in hindsight, you didn't know on the day it happened, but you knew that after that, his parents immediately hired a race huckster and not a lawyer to hold a press conference, to talk to the media, to handle the case, to put out their narrative. Who the hell goes to a race huckster when their son is being charged with murder? It's not someone who wants what's best for their son. If someone is so wrapped up in racism and hating white people and hating this country that you would go to a race huckster when your son killed somebody, I think it's reasonable. You can reasonably assume that this Karmelo Anthony kid has been fed a steady of diet of black power and hate whitey his entire life. He was taught to hate white people. He was taught that he was an oppressed victim who would never get a fair shot in life because white people hate him and white people have set up institutions to hold him down and white people are Nazis and we're just a bunch of privileged playing tennis at the country club or whatever they think we do. So now his parents, the Karmelo crew, his supporters online, see this thing as white people are falsely accusing Karmelo of murder. Just because you stab a minor child in the heart for disrespecting you, that doesn't make you a bad person. That's what they have. That's where the case is now. That's what the new evidence shows you. Karmelo was trained to hate. Karmelo was fed anti-white racism his whole life, and it filled him so full of hate and rage. That's how he grew up to be a murderer. Austin Metcalf is dead because of anti-white racism. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Did I say that clear enough? I think everybody got that one. And coming up next, just like the media is not bringing that up, the media is damn near, as much as they can, ignoring the UK Muslim rape gangs report. More on that coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. No, I don't think Karmelo has a chance on the appeal, but I've been wrong about such things before. I'm James Parker. You're listening to The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. So we were just going over the new info that we got. There's been an appeal filed. And the appeal, from what I understand, they can't really argue the merits of the case, the evidence, the testimony. I think in this appeals process that they're going through, they can only look for some sort of technical fault in what was tried or what was allowed, and just try and find some sort of technicality, something that the prosecution did wrong or that the judge did wrong, and just trying to get the case thrown out. And that sounds like a long shot, but hey, what the heck do I know? Ron in Lubbock, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Hey, James, hear me out on this real quick.
Sure.
I feel really bad for that kid. You know, his mom and dad taught him that, and I want to know why they're not being punished or prosecuted.
For what?
They taught him that.
What would they?
Teaching him, well, they taught him all that hate and stuff, and you know, that just don't fall far. I don't know. I feel bad for him because he was taught that, in my opinion. And I think even the Jeff Metcalf guy feels a little bit bad for him, because I read something last night where he had said, you know, they all got up and left when they sentenced him, and they just left that child up there all by himself to face that. I mean, he deserves what he's getting, but they just abandoned him, and it's sad. The whole deal's sad. But anyway, that's just what I think.
Well, the scrutiny of the parents, I find, now that the trial is over, is a pretty interesting conversation. I wasn't interested that much before the trial and all that. You know, you want to get justice for the murder, and you know, a family lost a son. So now that that's over, what the heck is going on? Did they have their own little, you know, racial hotbed in there? Was it just a hot box of hate and whitey? Is that what was going on?
Well, that, and they made money off that kid. That is just horrible. They bought new vehicles and new houses. They made money off that kid doing that. It's terrible. I mean, it's bad he did it, and he deserved what he got, but yet I still feel bad for him.
Yeah, Robert over here on Facebook is responding to us, Ron and Robert. He said, did his parents spend the money on his defense GoFundMe on a car and moving to a bigger house? I was under the impression they already lived in a big house and they already had nice cars. Didn't they? But
they moved to it.
They're in dump.
No, but they moved to a gated community and they rented a bigger house and everything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm under the understanding they were already in a pretty nice house. Like they went from a $600,000 house to a $900,000 house or something like that. Like they were already doing okay. Well, now they're doing better, but they were, you know, this isn't like a socioeconomic, some guy from the wrong side of the tracks or whatever. This guy was affluent. Yeah. He had no reason to be angry at this country. He had no reason to feel like he was oppressed. He's running around in one of the nicest suburbs the entire planet Earth has to offer, and he's still so full of hatred. He stabbed a fellow human being in the heart for just the slightest of disrespect, and that is messed up. And he had to have been taught that by his parents. Exactly.
And he had to hit that kid pretty hard to get your farm kids. You know, there's bone between your skin and your heart. To hit him with that knife, he had to have hit him pretty dang hard to do that.
I'm assuming he didn't go through the breastplate. I think maybe he just went just to the side of it and still hit the heart or something. Because you're right, that would have to be like all your force. I don't know. All right, well, good chat, Ron. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Right, so Ron's on my line of thinking. Are you with us? Like, hey, parents, y'all want to call in and defend yourself? What did you teach Karmelo Anthony about white people? Did you teach him that white people give him a fair shake? Did you teach him the truth about white people, that he is safer in a white community than he is in a black community? Did you teach him that white people are actually less likely to commit acts of violence against him than any other race? Did you teach him that? Or did you teach him to hate white people? Did you teach him to hate this country? Because we all find it real interesting, Karmelo Anthony's parents talking to you, that when your son murdered a child, y'all went to a race huckster and not a lawyer. Y'all went to a Timu Al Sharpton. Because what? Your first response to your kid committing murder was, this plays right into our racial grievances against white people? Jeremy in Fort Worth, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Yeah, man. I'm so sick of everyone trying to pull the race card on this whole situation. I mean, the kid got 35 years basically for murder. You know what I mean? I mean, I have a son right now that got busted with some pills that he shouldn't have had when he was 16, and he went in and out of the court system. He kind of got screwed over by his lawyer, and he got on probation, and he ended up getting in trouble again after that. And they gave him 55 years in prison.
Oh my
And that was
God.
just for some narcotics charges. And he shouldn't have had the pills. He shouldn't have had any of that stuff. They tested positive for fentanyl, and he got 55 years. And he's a southern white kid from Fort Worth, and this guy got 35 years for taking someone's life. You know what I mean? I mean, they
Can I
should
make
be
it worse for
happy.
you, Jeremy? He only has to serve half of that. He's eligible for parole in 17 and a half years.
Exactly. And my son, he has to serve 26 years of his 55-year sentence.
Isn't that
before he's
dumb?
eligible for
Isn't that
parole.
dumb? Because I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it's
glad you
stupid.
called, because fentanyl is actually in the show notes today. There was a guy that was arrested with 17,000 fentanyl pills over the last week or something here in Dallas. And I was just thinking, how bad does it have to be before we end drug prohibition? We're putting people in jail for providing pills. I mean, I don't want fentanyl pills, but apparently there's a market for 17,000 that you can sell 17,000 fentanyl pills in Dallas. Well, it sounds like we just
Well,
can't.
it's a simple fact that these people are like, oh, he's black, so he got screwed over or whatever. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not even that. There are so many people.
Jeremy, I'm
of every
I'm a
race.
libertarian, so more than most people, I am so sorry about what happened to your son, and I feel like that is a huge injustice, putting anybody in jail for having pills of any kind, recreational or prescription or medical or whatever. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, homeowners, James Parker here. We are still getting storms. It's usually kind of clears up around now, and then we're going to go into like the whole drought in July and August. But your roof has already taken a beating. Even if you don't get one other drop of rain for the rest of the summer, your roof took a big beating this spring. And if you have any doubts about it, or if you're thinking about putting your house on the market in the next year or so, you might want to call John Hopkins over at Blue Ribbon Roof and have him come out there and check it out, make sure everything's okay. Because if you find something wrong with your roof soon, you can save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars on just absolutely needless repairs that could have been prevented if you just do what I tell you. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Don't just trust the handsome guy on the radio. Read some of the 5-star reviews that your neighbors in North Texas have left, and then schedule your free roof inspection today. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Anti-white racism is why Austin Metcalf is dead and Carmelo Anthony is in prison. Change my mind. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820. 93.3 FM WBAP. Y'all know the story now. It's the murder at the track meet up in Frisco. And in the aftermath of this, now that we have the trial out of the way, now that justice has been somewhat served, there's an appeals process that has started. Fine, whatever. People get their appeals. Then we have the body cam footage released and the surveillance camera footage released from that horrible day. Going through that, it just reaffirms what you already knew. This was a murder. This was a guy who felt disrespected, and he wasn't going to take Whitey disrespecting him, so he showed him who was boss, and he stabbed him in the heart and killed him. You know this is racial because his parents immediately went out and they didn't hire a lawyer. They didn't hire a PR firm. They didn't go get Don Draper from Mad Men. They went and got some bootleg Al Sharpton, Dominic Alexander from the National Goober Network to come make this all about race. So that tells you everything that is in his parents' heart right there. The first thing they thought when their son murdered somebody is, ooh, it was a white kid. You know that's what they thought. They went and got a racist. That was their primary motivation. So wouldn't it make sense that they raised their kid in the same way? Do you think Carmelo Anthony felt like he had something to prove because it was a white guy disrespecting him? You think that's what his parents might have put in his head for the first 17 years of his sociopathic, murderous life? Sonny Hostin's out there defending him, not by saying he didn't murder Austin Metcalf, not by saying his parents are great people who didn't fill him full of hate and anti-white racism his entire life. No. The Metcalf father is the racist. Yeah. Thanks, Sonny. Thanks.
One last thing. I know we're playing the music, but Austin Metcalf's the victim, the deceased. His father went on a podcast and listened to it for yourself, but he called Carmelo Anthony a racial slur. And he also said that the reason that black people weren't on the jury is because black people are unable to hold bias from the trial because they don't know their own fathers, have a bunch of baby mamas running around living off of government assistance. So that is the thing. That's the thinking of the victim's father.
Well, let's not say that was the victim's
I'm not saying
thinking
it was the
as well.
Of the victim, but of the victim's father.
And we'll let you sit with that. We'll be right back.
Why would you even bring that up? Oh yeah, don't feel any sympathy toward Metcalf. He's probably a racist. He probably learned it from his parents. How are you coming away with the exact opposite of the truth? I mean, we see this, we're used to it. But it turns out the racist parents were the Anthony family, the ones that filled their kid full of anti-white hate, the racist hate, the Anthony family. The one that actually pulled out a knife and ended someone's life. In no way can she even fathom the possibility that Austin Metcalf is the victim. Why? Because she just ate up with race. And in that whole thing she's talking about, it's a long clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but he was on Sarah Field's show, her little podcast. She's been on the show before many times, but he was saying, man, that people keep asking me about the racist angle and the racism and trying to get me to say something racist. And then they come at me and they call me cracker and all kinds of names. And all they want is for me to just say something about race. So they'll have their viral clip and that's all they're going to harp on so they can use it against me. And since they won't leave me alone, fine. I'll just say something racist, and then y'all can talk about that and just leave me alone. And so then he said watermelon felon. And Sonny Hostin is doing exactly what he said. He's like, I'm just going to say something racist, so they'll have something that they can use against me and finally just leave me alone. I'll give them what they want, and they can stop trying to goad it out of me. And it worked. He was 100% right about it. Oh, he's like, all I have to do is say something. He didn't even mean it. He didn't even literally say, Carmelo Anthony's a watermelon felon. He's like, I'll just say some sort of ethnic slur. And by the way, have you ever heard anyone use that term before in your life? Watermelon felon? It's the first time I've ever heard it. So to act like this is some just terrible slur with its roots back in slavery and Jim Crow. No, it's just something he made up on the spot because he knew it would make you people dance, because that's all you want. You want to race bait this so you don't have to think about it, so you don't have to admit there's something wrong with this culture of anti-white racism that is far more pervasive than anti-black racism. They'll blame anything And a great example of that was when Obama's library opened last week. On the first day, the first lady that had a sit-down reading time for kids. Let's all sit around the reading carpet, and we have this children's book author to come in, and she's going to read to you her new children's book. And what is it? It's one of these race hucksters. Her book is Brown Girl, Brown Boy, and it's talking about how white people suck and brown people are powerful, and they're just filling them full of racism from day one, from story time to preschoolers. Listen to this.
So the first book I'm going to read is called Brown Girl, Brown Girl. Brown Girl, Brown Girl, what do you see? A world that sees my skin before it sees me.
God.
Brown girl, what do you feel? That I have the power to make my dreams real. Brown girl, what did you do? I fought, I hoped, I spoke what was true.
Yes, fill them so full of animosity, of racial hate, that when they grow up, it erupts out of them. Yeah, what part of the book, the Brown Girl, Brown Boy, is there a part of the book that tells you to stab someone at a track meet? Is that in there? Or shoot up the Airbnb in West Dallas? Or shoot up the Sunday Fun Day at the lake up in Edmond, Oklahoma? Or to shoot each other at the Stop 6 Park over in Fort Worth? Or to shoot each other at the After Hours Club? Or to shoot the 5 people that got shot in Jacksonville this weekend at the park? Is that in the book? Is that in Brown Girl, Brown Boy? Is that it? 800-288-9227. Meanwhile, the media is ignoring a racially based Karmelo Anthony hate crime that came out of East Texas this weekend. And we just learned that the UK press covered up for the Muslim rape gangs, and we found out the American press isn't interested in that story either. So anti-white racism goes unabated, promoted, even though it's getting us killed. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. But we're talking about the Karmelo Anthony situation because now that the appeals have been filed, now that we've actually seen the body cam evidence, and all the chips have fallen, and we know, well, it's not allegedly, reportedly. No. This was a murder. And now the scrutiny comes on not just the parents, not just the lawyers, not just the race hucksters, but also the media and the same things that are going on right now. The media was covering up for the UK Muslim rape gangs for years. So they don't care if your children get raped. The cause is more important. Their politics is more important than the suffering of 250,000 young white Christian girls. We now also know that the racism call, no one cares if if a white kid gets stabbed in the heart by what's probably a racially motivated murderer. Look at his parents. Look who they hired right after the murder happened. They didn't get a lawyer. They didn't get a PR firm. They didn't go to their pastor. They went to a race huckster. They went to Dominic Alexander, Timu Al Sharpton. So white racism is probably one of the leading factors, the motivating inspirations behind the death of Austin Metcalf. Just no one has the guts to say it. But all these people, they're so worried about racism. If someone makes a perceived racial gesture in the American Airlines Center at a Stars game 5 months prior, we got to get to the bottom of that. But this dead kid, no concern. That's messed up. And I'm just going to keep calling it out until it changes. I hope I don't annoy you with that. Tony in Louisiana. You're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yeah, James, you were talking about his parents drilling that into his head. It ain't just them. It's the whole society. It's getting real bad out here. Ever since that girl over there got murdered from Ukraine, I started packing iron. I go all over the United States. And I'm 65 years old. I got degenerative disc disease. I'm not putting up with it. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, the one of my favorite accounts to follow on X. Are you on Twitter/X? Are you on social media much?
Yep.
So on X, there's a great account that says white men are stupid in ads, and I think it's at Stupid White Ads. I forget what the handle is, but if you search it, you can pull it up. And they just put out the new commercials of the day. People send in, hey, I saw a new commercial. And in every commercial for years now, I don't know when this started, but every commercial for years, if someone is an idiot or a boob or needs to be corrected or gets it wrong or a goof or a clown or hurts themselves or gets, kicked in the crotch or whatever, it is almost always a white guy. Now, they have actually shown a couple of exceptions to the rules where there was a white guy and a black guy and they were friends and they were watching football and they were doing something dumb and the black guy's wife came in and corrected them. So it's like, oh, okay, well, at least, by association. But you're right. It is pervasive. Whenever they flip the characters in a movie, it's always to make white guys look bad or lessen the negative view of black people. Like the serial killer, the 14-year-old serial killer out of England that was a black kid. They made him a white kid in the Netflix documentary. They go out and they lie about this Central Park 5. I don't know if you've ever seen the Central Park 5 documentary on Netflix, but it's just all lies of omission. You're right. It's not just the parents, but the parents plus a steady diet of the media. Yeah, I mean, who can't understand why Karmelo Anthony may have had antipathy toward his white neighbors? Gary in Newark, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yeah, thanks for taking the call there, James. Your caller prior said that, it was the influence of his parents and they've been, decided having to do this. Is it not the same thing as the little boy white boy down in Burleson a few years ago that 16-year-old was drunk and ran over the people and killed 3 people in the car, and they blamed it on influenza from his parents?
Yeah, I remember.
If he has any money left at all in his GoFundMe account, I don't know why he don't sue his parents, for influencing him to be that way. It's their fault. Why are they not responsible for it if they did it? I think he should get every bit of the money himself, and I don't think he got but about half of the time that he deserved. But however, it is influence, from your parents and white and black, but that's something that I've heard of, being influenza child, and they, got him off for a little bit of nothing for killing 3 people.
Yeah, that's a pretty frustrating story as well. Thanks for bringing that up. Gary in Newark, good to hear from you again, bud. When we try and blame or figure out who to blame here, one of the frustrating, almost entertaining things is seeing how many excuses they can come up with. Like, well, it's not the fact that he doesn't have a father. There's no shortcoming in the culture of the society that is more violent on proportion than others. No. It's got to be the school system, or no, we've got to build a new park, or they don't have enough public transportation, or they need another jobs program, or maybe we should expand the library. Matt Walsh was telling a story about a year ago where in Jackson, Mississippi, they were blaming it on a gas station.
So here's the background. There's a Texaco gas station in Jackson that's located on a street called Medgar Evers Boulevard. And recently there's been a lot of crime near the gas station, including several homicides and shootings this year. In response to this crisis, the solution that politicians and activists have come up with is not to blame the criminals. It's not to hire more police officers, increase patrols. Instead, their response has been to blame the Texaco gas station. And now these politicians, including a councilman named Kenneth Stokes, are calling for the gas station to be shut down.
Yes, it's the gas station. We had that in Dallas, what was it, 5-6 years ago. There was a car wash. People kept getting shot at this car wash, and the city's like, we got to shut this car wash down. The car wash owner's like, what did I do wrong? And they're like, well, you need to put up lights at night. He's like, fine, I'll put up lights. They're like, well, you need to put up a fence to keep out bad people after you're closed. Fine, I'll put up he did everything right. They still closed him down. Just anything but blame. Say, hey, maybe there's something going on in that community that we should change. No, it's probably just old Whitey oppressing them. Such a lazy shortcut, and it's getting people killed, and I'm tired of it. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. What can we do about the anti-white racism that inspired Karmelo Anthony to murder? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Does Carmelo Anthony even have it a chance on appeal? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. The BMB Empower Network is telling you about Carmelo Anthony's new legal dream team. There are now 6 lawyers that have been assembled into a team, and they're all working pro bono, and they're going to handle Carmelo Anthony's appeal. What is the appeal here? You need 6 people to be like, that wasn't murder. No, that's just because you stab a kid in the heart and kill him almost instantly for gently touching your left arm. Come on now. So, yes, I don't have a whole lot of hope here, but I have no legal training. I don't know. Maybe they can find a technicality. Maybe they can get a mistrial. You know that they're going to play the race angle because that's pretty much the only one they have. And, you know, the loudest argument coming from the other side is no black people were on the jury. It's like, okay, so none of you are actually defending the merits of the case. Find that interesting. But the ugly truth that is being obscured by all the circus here, by the new legal dream team, by the appeal, by the evidence, by the body cam, is the fact that we know because his parents went out and got a race huckster immediately after the murder, that's what was on their mind. That was their primary motivation. And it kind of makes sense that they would teach their kids that. I mean, we all pass along our worldview onto our kids? And so I think the ugly thing that none of us really want to admit or swallow or say out loud is Carmelo Anthony was likely fed a steady diet of anti-white racism his entire life, and it cost Austin Metcalf his life. This is Tormaine in Dallas. You're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, sir.
I'm calling in simply because a lot of the stuff that you are saying, that's race baiting. I don't see when you start talking about people of color or black people, you're saying they're raised anti-white.
I'm not to say all black people. I'm just saying the ones that when their son murders another child, they go get a race huckster to do the press conference. Not a lawyer, not a PR firm, not a consultant, not a pastor, a race huckster.
Now, I don't understand what you're saying about that, but I do understand.
Dominic Alexander, what's his job?
What's whose job?
The guy that did the press conference for the Anthony family after their child murdered another child at the track meet. They went and got Dominic Alexander. He's founder and CEO of the Next Generation Action Network. It is a race huckster organization, nonprofit, and that's who they went to. Doesn't that speak to their motivation?
A race huckster? No. It's just that sometimes you got to look at things under a microscope. I'm sorry, I'm about to step right in here. A train's going by.
Sorry about
that. Sometimes you have to look at a thing under a fine microscope, you know, because we know a lot of issues in our community that's been unfair, especially when it comes with dealing with blacks. So it's been documented throughout time. So just to say, hey, don't go through with a fine comb would be a mistake on our part.
You wouldn't go to a lawyer first?
They went to a lawyer. The lawyer failed them miserably.
Dominic Alexander's not a lawyer.
They went to a lawyer. When the trial started, the boy had a lawyer.
I know, but that's not who they went to first. That's not who did the press conference. When they put their first foot forward, that lets you know what was their first priority, the first way that they wanted to present themselves to the world.
Okay. In your community, who do you go to when you have problems?
I am so glad you asked that. Have you noticed, Tormaine, that we don't have white race hucksters? We don't have the Metcalf family doesn't have anyone to go to when their son is murdered by an anti-white racist. Even when we're dying at the hands of an anti-white racist, we don't have race hucksters.
So you saying the 17-year-old boy was anti-white racist?
I'm saying that the evidence that we have that the people his parents called after the murder were race hucksters lets you know that that's their primary motivation, and it's a very reasonable assumption that they taught their kid the same worldview.
That is anti-racist. See, man, look.
Did anything I say was incorrect?
It was very incorrect.
Which part?
You don't know how you don't know how he was raised.
I think we have evidence.
You know zero about the kid.
No, actually, we do know. We do know. Here's a few things we know how he was raised. Number one, he has a funky spelled name, so his parents think they're eccentric, and that's not a black thing. White people do it too. How many different ways can we spell Ashley? White people.
You see, now that right there.
Hang on, let me
you don't know
finish.
nothing about-
Listen, here's another thing we know. We know he actually had married parents that lived in a nice neighborhood. All right, so there's no like socioeconomic excuses on why he feels slighted by the world. He had to be trained to think like that. We also know he's the type of guy that carries around a knife. This wasn't the first time he got in trouble for having a knife at a school function. He had been in trouble before. Actually, we know quite a bit about how he's raised. We know that he was a track athlete, so his parents are at least involved enough that they make sure he goes to the practices and whatnot. He's not a guy that's fallen through the cracks and being ignored. He's actually kind of participating in one of the better school systems North Texas has to offer. So we know that. We know he's the kind of guy that will say something crazy like, touch me and see what happens, while he has a knife in his right hand. We also know that he's the type of kid that would plunge a knife in a fellow child's chest so hard it will pierce his heart and cause him to die. We actually have a nice little body of evidence by which to judge this guy. So I'm not just judging him by his skin tone here. I'm judging him more so on his murder and the fact that his parents have proven that they're racist, or maybe not proven, but given us ample evidence to make a reasonable assumption that they're motivated by race.
Now, because you keep saying anti-white. You ain't give the kid no benefit of the doubt talking about he was raised to be anti-white. That is a lie. You just making up stuff, firing up people. And then if the kid had a knife on him, all these country people down here in Texas got a doggone knife on them. So that's no excuse. Boys, girls. So these guys walking around killing whole schools and stuff with AKs. Is that race baiting? No. The guy is a 17-year-old kid, father,
murderer.
And mother took him to a kid. Who end up, yes, he ended up killing the kid. But
how many murders do you have to commit before you're a murderer?
He's a kid that went to school that day, the one picking with nobody. And if you want to talk about them brothers already been known. They had whooped their dad, broke his arm or some crap like that. They've been known bullies. And then you're sitting there acting like they angels? No, they went over there to start trouble with that boy. Mm-hmm. That boy wasn't starting no trouble with nobody.
So do you think it was appropriate for Karmelo Anthony to stab him in the heart?
It's appropriate to defend yourself. Now,
so that's a yes. Do you think Karmelo Anthony was defending himself?
I said it's appropriate to defend yourself. Yeah, he was defending himself.
Okay, so that's the rule of association. You think that wasn't a murder?
Everybody testified that they came. The boys.
Tormaine, if I come push you, here's I'm running out of time here. If I come push you on the arm, can you stab me in the heart and kill me?
If you push me on the arm,
yeah.
You know, first of all, I got better judgment.
Yes or no, sir?
And I can handle.
Yes or no, sir?
And it's not a very fine line, because once you say that, now you're saying he's a murderer. Okay, let's say he's a murderer.
Tormaine, let's go back to my question. If I push you in the arm, can you stab me in the heart?
You even went as far as saying something about the Central Park Five.
Yeah, they're all guilty. Tormaine, if I push you in the arm, they are.
The DNA evidence was on Merritt, whatever his name is.
Let's not get into that. I want to go back to my question. I'm really interested in this question. I'm really interested.
You targeting? Nah, you don't.
Hang on, Tormaine. If I push you in the arm, are you justified in stabbing me in the heart and killing me?
If you violate my space, I could do. I'm gonna put my hands back on you. Now, if there's an item,
if I push you in the arm, are you justified in stabbing me in the heart and killing me?
This is stand your ground.
Is that a yes?
Stand your ground state.
So we can assume that's a yes?
So, all right, I got one.
Just
for
say,
you.
Damn it,
So
yes. Just stand on your principles, bro. Just admit it. Just admit it. You're okay with murder.
It ain't a cut and dry thing.
You have a different. All right, I'm just kind of out of time. Everyone understand where we're going with that? Do I need to carry him through the break? I think we all got that right. 800-288-9227. You hear that? He's okay with murder. I mean, you see that as murder. They don't see it as murder. He doesn't see it as murder. Interesting stuff. Hey, was Trayvon Martin murdered?
Was a kid running away?
Was Trayvon Martin murdered?
That was a tussle, a fight.
Yeah, so there you go. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. How many of you are having to give up something this summer because of pain? James Parker here for QC Kinetics. Did you go to the lake and your brother-in-law was like, hey, you want to ride on the jet ski? But your back was bothering you. Or, hey, you want to go play pickleball, but your knee was bothering you. Or, hey, you want to go to Six Flags, but you can't walk around all day. You have too much pain. I don't know. Where is it? Is it in your ankle, your knee, your hips, your back? I don't know where it's at. Could be in your shoulder. But QC Kinetics might be able to give you that quality of life back. You go in for the free consultation. They'll talk to you. They'll take a look at you. I got one of those little ultrasound scans on my back, and then they'll show you the treatment options, talk about what they can do for you, and then we'll set up a treatment plan and get started. Now, on the first time I visited, I actually got to do a treatment, and I was in and in with the consultation and the treatment. It was about 30 minutes. Seriously, it's that fast. And I think I'm going back next week for treatment number 2. But it all starts with you giving them the call. You got to make the first move. 972-972-8610. Call QC Kinetics. Get rid of that pain. Get your life back and have fun this summer. 972-972-8610. All right, we got a lawyer on the show to put some expertise on this legal situation with the Karmelo Anthony appeal. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins on from 11 to 2. Check them out if you haven't already. But my buddy Jeremy Rosenthal back on the James Show. And Jeremy, we have an appeal being filed by the Karmelo Anthony family. Does this appeal have much of a chance at overturning the verdict? Now, they're not actually reviewing the merits of the case as much as they are I'm to understand the functions. They're looking for a technicality, looking for a mistrial, maybe a challenge that the jury wasn't of his peers or something, but not the actual details of the stabbing. It was the Green Bay 2016, but who's counting? Yeah. All right. Well, hang on, legal analyst Jeremy Rosenthal from TexasDefenseFirm.com. I mean, I said it like a minute ago. Already got a correction. It was in 2015. Sorry. This is what it's like being a talk radio host. You get corrected on anything you say wrong. It is so childish. Anyway, Jeremy, my other question for you in this Karmelo Anthony appeal, there is now a new legal dream team, 6 lawyers working pro bono. What the heck do you need 6 lawyers on an appeal for? And what is the draw for these lawyers to even want to participate in this? Nice. All right. Well, Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Thank you for your legal expertise and explaining the Karmelo Anthony appeal process, sir. All right. Thank you very much. I'll just stay out of jail either way. All right. Well, let's go to the phones real quick. I want to squeeze in Al in Plano. You're next up on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
How you doing, sir?
Great.
Okay, this is my take. Everybody black does not feel Karmelo Anthony didn't do anything.
Agreed.
Okay.
I hope I didn't leave that impression with anyone.
Okay, well, that's how I sound. I'm a straight shooter. Now, my position is this. Something wrong happened. Does he deserve to go to jail? Yes. If you look at the sentence he was given, there's a lot more. What I know of the circumstances, he overreacted for personal force for what he was shoulder, you don't pull out a knife and stab it. That's what they call proportionality.
Right.
Based on what I know, it should be a manslaughter conviction, not a murder conviction.
Yeah, and you know what? Thanks for calling me out at the beginning there, because I probably need to repeat that more often. I have said on previous shows, and I just feel like everyone listens to my show all the time, and I should know better than that. But I've actually said, like last week, we were talking about how reassuring it has been how many black people are speaking out against Karmelo Anthony and in defense of the Austin Metcalf situation. So you just made me think I should probably say that more often now. Thank you, sir. All right. 800-288-9227. We got some more callers responding to the Karmelo Anthony situation, the appeals process, and the fact that this was probably motivated primarily, or at least in part, by anti-white racism. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, as soon as we wrap up this Karmelo Anthony appeal talk, wait till you hear the Tallarico audio next. I know, it's a great show. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Yeah, so Karmelo Anthony murdered Austin Madcap, proven in a court of law. They're appealing. The Anthony team is appealing, and they have a team of 6 lawyers that are going to go on this failed appeals quest. Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's failed. Everyone has their, day in court, whatever, but 6 people working for free. What do you do? 6th person. You realize that there were 5 lawyers on this team. You wanted to be the 6th law. Can you add something to this case, or are you just trying to get your name associated and get a little publicity out of it? Boy, that's ugly. This is why people hate lawyers. There's nothing you can do for that kid. That kid is in the wrong based on all the evidence that the entire world has access to. You're going to run in and defend them for free just to get yourself a little internet clout? Okay. That's nice and evil. Thanks a lot. Joe in Grapevine, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
James, honor and privilege. Outstanding what you're doing right now, my friend. And what you're doing right now is exactly what needs to be done, exposing the hypocrisy of the left. I'm not going to say Democratic Party. I'm getting difficult saying that. This is the radical left. James, let's look back just shortly. Jesse Smollett. Remember, MAGA country? He hired 2, was it Nigerian or Jamaican guys?
They were Nigerian, yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Smollett, and then there was Zimmerman, claimed he had no injuries. This went on until they went to the trial, and even during the trial. But what happened during the trial? The prosecution deliberately held back photographic evidence of the back of his head and how severe it was in the injuries. That's one of the reasons he was acquitted. Let's see, Michael Brown. Who extended this?
Yeah, hands up, don't shoot was not a thing. That never happened. He never put his hands up. He never said that. And we had 15 air quote witnesses lie to the cops and say that they saw him with his hands up and they heard him say hands up, don't shoot. None of those witnesses, air quote witnesses that talked to the media, that talked to the TV station, that talked to the newspapers, that put it online, and none of them testified in court.
Well, you're exactly right. That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what happened, James. This is the radical left playbook. It has been that way for years. We're coming up to the, in the next election here. This is how they do it, James. They're trying to create diversity. Obama, unfortunately, when he was elected secretly, because I am mixed nationality, I'm half Hispanic, half Irish, and Cherokee Indian. And I look Hispanic or Middle Eastern or whatever you want to call me because of my mixed background. I learned at an early age from my own family and didn't find out until later. They didn't want me to be a part of the family, not my direct grandparents that raised me. If anybody could sense any type of racism from President Trump, I would be the one. And then we have evidence of the type of man this was to the black community. Just see, who was it? Jesse Jackson supported his campaign for president 2 times, did all kinds of things for the black community. James, they know exactly what they're doing. And I hear people say, I can't understand. It's common sense. Well, is it common sense, James? Then if you put your hands on him, then what are the police officers doing? ICE, Homeland Security, and all of these times I've seen dozens of videos, and just in the last year, of how they have been assaulted. Did they turn around and open fire? No, not unless they're going for a weapon.
That's a great point you're making, because if you are justified in stabbing someone in the heart if they push you, then wouldn't the Rodney King beating actually be doing him a favor? They could have killed him. He pushed him. He attacked him. He punched him. They could have just pulled out their guns and ended it right there. And so they kind of they went easy on him, but. And I'm not saying that's my position, but that's a great double standard Joe in Grapevine just brought up. Daniel in Sherman, you're next up on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
How you doing? Yeah, I just wanted to say that a lot of this is just money motivated. I've been a police officer in Texas for many years, and I've heard things, prison's a vacation and things like that. And I remember when Frisco was just a small little town of 1,000. Well, Karmelo could have read the room. He knew that those boys wasn't going to do anything. That's why he took action. He knew and the parents knew. He might have been doing it to get his parents' attention, but he did it. But these people that keep on calling it a race thing, the reason why they're calling it a race thing is because they've been without a job. This brings money in, and without
money, clout, virtue signaling, power. They're not doing it for justice. They're not doing it because it's the right thing to do. They're not doing it because Carmelo Anthony's not a murderer or Austin Metcalf deserved to die or it was self-defense. You're absolutely right. They're doing this for the most low and base motivation possible. Maybe money, maybe just name recognition, maybe just clout, maybe just virtue signaling. It's really ugly, though. Whatever the excuse is, it's not pure. Thank you, Daniel in Sherman. All right, coming up next, you're going to hear my thoughts on this Tallarico audio. Now, they're saying this is resurfaced. I had never heard it before, so maybe I was just behind on my Tallarico archives here. But he talks about he's the type of Christian that hates Christianity. Excuse me, what?
Yeah, and that's, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity, right? And like I always get drawn back into it.
800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I mean, are you allowed to say that? Could you say that about any other religion? Yeah, I'm a Muslim who hates Islam. Yeah, you hate Islam? You allowed to say that? You allowed to say that about, I don't know, Jewish people or Hindu people? You allowed to say that? Because what happens? We'll talk about it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is Tallarico really a Christian? Does Tallarico hate Christians? Can you be a Christian that hates Christianity? Seem like silly questions, but that's where we're at. I'm James Parker. You're listening to The James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And so this is the Tallarico audio supposedly resurfaced. You know, I'm not under the impression this is new audio. I just hadn't heard it before. Where he talks about and kind of explains why he hates Christianity.
Yeah, and that's, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity, right? And like I always get drawn back into it.
There you go. I'm just a Christian who hates Christianity. Let's kind of whittle that down a little bit, because there are two ways to view Christianity. The Bible, the rules, the doctrine, the Christianity, what Christianity says, the belief system, the values, the tenets, the lifestyle. That Christianity. Then there's also Christianity could be used as the body of Christians. You, me, Garrett, everyone else who shares our faith. We're in different denominations. So the Baptists, the Methodists, Presbyterians, hell, even the Catholics and Mormons, put us all together. We make the body of Christ that he is talking about here in Christianity. Now, it is a logical fallacy to say that you hate Christianity as a Christian and talk about the Bible, the doctrine, and the rules. Oh, I hate this system of rules that I believe in, this system of faith that I believe in. No. That doesn't make any sense. He hates you. Now, not all Christians, but generally speaking, Christians don't agree with him politically. Christians don't agree with him morally on a bunch of very important issues. And he hates you for that. He didn't say he mildly disagrees with Christianity or he has some serious conflicts. He hates Christianity. He did not pull any punches there. He did not soften it. So if you're not one of these people that thinks God is a Latinx, trans, queer, non-binary that needs an abortion, he hates you. I want you to listen to it again. So I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, and that's, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity, right? And like, I always get drawn back into it.
What is the reaction of the guy doing the interview? Yeah, it's great to hate someone based solely on their religion. Think of how much crap you and I get for saying, hey, can we stop importing the rapists from the Muslim world? Oh, well, that's so hateful. God, what a bigot. Your entire political party just runs on hatred. Then you turn around. And what happened to the Super Bowl lecture that we got from Bad Bunny? The only thing that Trump's hate is love. I guess the only thing you're allowed to hate is Christians? No, that's not true. White people, America, the Constitution, you hate all that too. Merit. That's messed up. Tyler in Fort Worth. Or is this Fort Worth and Tyler? You're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, I was raised in a Christian Catholic household. Over time, I switched over to the Asatru, which is the Norse religion. I myself...
Well, hang on, what did you call it?
It's Asatru.
It's Asatru?
Yeah, the actual name I found out recently. The Norse religion is Asatru.
So like Odin and Thor and Loki and all that.
Yes, sir.
Woden. Anyway, go ahead.
So like I said, I was raised in a Catholic Christian household. I don't see where he's hating all of us especially if he's one. Like, are you saying you hate yourself then too?
No, he's not saying he hates himself. See, because he is a splinter fringe version of Christianity that is not represented by the wider body of Christianity. So he hates those silly Christians that believe in, crazy things like, Jesus and the Bible and traditional values and mores. And he thinks it's okay to have books about doing butt stuff in an elementary school library. He's cool with that. I don't know. There's a whole lot going on, and it's just all based on politics. Right? We all know what this is. We know this isn't like a legit doctrinal critique here. He only hates Christianity. He only hates fellow Christians because we don't believe what he believes. And listen, from their worldview, you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, literally a Nazi. So what's he supposed to say? I like other Christians that are literally Nazis. So they've painted themselves into a corner. They can't call Christians Nazis all day, every day, and then run a Christian and be like, no, he's not a Nazi. He's one of the good ones. So it's a no-win. This guy's in a revolving door of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. I mean, like I'm only saying, like, he's when he says he's hating Christians, I understand it's that one, but at the same time, it's also saying he's basically saying he's hating himself though too, because he's considering Catholic himself. You know?
Yeah, but look, that's like when the white liberals will say white people are evil or this whole country's racist. It's like, excuse me, do you hate yourself? You're a white American.
Yeah.
Is your background, your heritage based on racism and hatred and slavery? But this is par for the course, because you've heard other people say that. This is right in line with it. Here's Jennifer Welch. She's a podcaster, very prominent within the woke world.
White evangelical Christianity is a cancer. These are the worst people in our country, because they use their religion in two ways, as a weapon and as a shield. And
Stephen Colbert last year was referring to the mores that you hold, Tyler, and me and Garrett and evil old Team Red. We're Christo-fascist. Remember that?
Project 2025 is an obvious and chilling blueprint for a Christo-fascist future. And Trump knows that that is toxic to voters. So he has denied any knowledge or any connection to it.
So the real question is, does he believe what he's saying? Does he really hate Christianity? Does he really hate Christians, Tyler?
I mean, I can't fully say. I feel like he does. It's just he may hate some, just not all.
Yeah, right. But it's the logical conclusion. You can't say this group of people over here is racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, Islamophobe, just terrible. They want kids to die. They cut USAID and 4 million children to starve, and they're just lighting their cigars with $100 bills or whatever, and then turn around and say you don't hate them. Yet you necessarily have to hate them. So he's just in a conundrum, which makes you know that he doesn't really believe all that. He doesn't think that he's a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. He's just pretending to be a Christian. That's the conclusion. He's a guy who knows just enough to try and fool the other Christians. Like here's I'm out of time now, but I'm going to play his explanation on how he was asked how the Bible justifies abortion, because he said before the Bible justified abortion. He was asked about that. I will play you his answer, and then I'll play you the passage from the Bible that he's talking about, and I will expose this guy as lying about the Bible.
God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings. But that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus. And so that's how I come down on that side of the issue.
All right, after you get all caught up on the news, I got the audiobook version of the Bible. I got the passage he's talking about, Luke 1:26. I'll play it for you, and you are not going to hear what he just said. And the Bible has warned you. Who are the worst guys out there? What did Satan do after Jesus fasted in the desert for 40 days? He twisted the scriptures to try and trick Jesus. It's the exact same thing Tallarico's doing now. He is twisting and lying about what the Word of God says to try and trick you. He is following Satan's playbook. And you'll hear it yourself next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. James Tallarico said himself he hates Christianity. Is that going to fly for the Senate race in Texas? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I know. Hey, good to see you too. So the discussion is born out of this sound clip. They're saying it resurfaced. And when they do that, they're more like saying, this isn't anything new. We already knew this, so don't pay any attention to it. All right, fine. I haven't heard it before. But Tallarico hates Christianity.
Yeah, and that's, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity, right? And like I always get drawn back into it.
Yeah. And then people have all picked apart his Christianity. I haven't really done that a whole lot on this show because people have different definitions of Christianity. You don't have to agree with me to be a Christian. I was raised Southern Baptist, but if you're a Methodist, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Pentecostal, Church of God, Church of Christ, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, LDS, Catholic, whatever sect you got, whatever. You're a Christian, close enough. You and me are pretty much on the same team. But we should all be kind of interested in when he brings up the Bible. He was asked, because he said before the Bible justifies abortion. He was asked where did he see that? Where did he justify that? Now, he's going to give his excuse here. And then right after that, I'm going to play you the passage in Luke that he's talking about. It starts at Luke 1:26. And I'm going to play you the entirety of the conversation with the angel and the Virgin Mary that he talks about. And you are not going to hear what he says.
God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings. But that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus. And so that's how I come down on that side of the issue.
This is a lying heretic demon. What does he say God says?
In Luke. I mean,
where God says
God asks for Mary's consent.
All right, see if God asks for Mary's consent. Here's Luke 1:26 through the entire conversation with Mary and the angel.
In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end." "How will this be?" Mary asked the angel, "since I am a virgin?" The angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she who is said to be unable to conceive is in her 6th month. For no word from God will ever fail." "I am the Lord's servant," Mary answered. "May your word to me be fulfilled." Then the angel left her.
That's it. Did you hear God ask for consent there? No, you did not. Did you hear Mary give consent there? No, you did not. In fact, right before that story in the first half of Luke chapter 1 is a visit to Elizabeth. Same thing. He didn't ask for consent. He said, "Hey, guess what, Elizabeth? You're pregnant. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to have John the Baptist." So what is Tallarico doing? Is he just misunderstanding his interpretation of the New Testament and out of good faith he happened to get it wrong? Or is he taking the God's name in vain? Is he putting on the cloak of Christianity in order to try and trick Texas voters, in order to further his political career? It's in the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. And I've always bristled at the interpretation that you're not supposed to say, gee, damn it, or oh my God, or just say God as a turn of phrase. No, you're not supposed to use the word of God, the name of God, for your own glory, for your own vanity, to make you look good. That's what he's doing. That's my interpretation of it. And really, I try and be open-minded. I don't see how you can come to any other conclusion. Steve in Fort Worth, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Hi, James. Normally I agree with you most of the time, but this time I think you made a statement that was pretty much false. And it had to do with we're all on the same team. No.
Let's not nitpick dogma. Let's not nitpick dogma today. Just generally speaking, while I don't agree with everything all these other denominations say, I loop them in the general umbrella of Christianity. That's not.
But they're not Christians, James.
Do they think in their head that they're following the word of Jesus, even though they come to a different conclusion than you do?
Does that make one a Christian?
Does
that make one a Christian, James?
Does that make one a
Does thinking that they believe in Jesus make one a Christian?
If you believe Jesus is the Son of God and that is your one true path to salvation, yeah.
Okay, so you have determined. Okay, all right, thanks. I disagree.
Well, what's your definition of a Christian?
A Christian is a person who believes that the Bible is the Word of God.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so I mean, how does that not apply to other denominations?
Well, I didn't say denominational. There are Christians in every denomination, but in every denomination there are people who claim to be Christians who aren't. I mean, there are Catholic Christians.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Mormons because they don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in the inerrancy of the Scripture. They change it every time they get a new whatever their leader is called. I mean, they used to exclude black people from the church because that's what the prophet told them, but the newer prophet changed it. So their prophecies change every time. That's anti-scriptural.
Yeah, but I mean, if they believe Jesus is the Son of God and he's the one true path, whatever, that's...
No, they don't. They believe Jesus is the Son of God and the brother of the devil. And
well, I've always seen them as like Christian plus a little extra books that we don't have. And so, of course, they're going to come out with a different doctrinal the understanding on some issues.
You don't add to the Word of God.
Fine.
Right?
I still count them as Christians. Is that okay with you?
No, I disagree. I think
well, I was just trying to be generous.
The fact that they have a moral.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Steve. It's good old Steve in Fort Worth. And he can only give me that much heck because he calls on a regular basis, so I don't mind. All right, coming up next on the James Show. No, we are not going to get in a doctrine discussion. Stop it right now. I see the phones lighting up. I don't care who you think is and isn't a real Christian. Stop it. We're not doing that. Because coming up next, there's a Tesla crash that happened in Texas, Houston suburb, I think it was Katy, where it was reported that a Tesla on full self-driving autopilot was going 70 through a residential neighborhood, crashed into a house, and killed somebody's grandma. I'll tell you the truth next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So if a Tesla on autopilot kills somebody, does the driver go to jail? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I thought that's what this next story was about. Now, we still need to have that conversation, and this is still something that you and I have to work out in real time because self-driving cars are a new thing. However, that may not be exactly what happened. That may kind of be a loose interpretation of what happened. Let me give you the example here. Our news partner, WFAA.
In new video, you can hear the moment a Tesla, reportedly on autopilot, drove right into a home here in Texas. You hear that crash. It happened in Katy near Houston. A 76-year-old woman who was inside the home was killed. The driver of the Tesla told police the car was in autopilot mode when it happened, and witnesses heard it all.
We were just out here for my little cousin's 9th birthday when we saw a car flying by down the street, and all we saw was them going about 60, 70 miles per hour. And next thing we know is we hear it hit that curb in that driveway and it ran into the house.
The driver was also taken to a hospital for treatment.
Okay, so if you go to the national news, they all pick this up too. ABC, NBC, CBS. I've got reports from all of them, and Newsbusters did an interesting summary. But I can't play you what's missing, just to show you that I went through all of it.
And to Texas now, where a speeding Tesla jumped a curb, slammed into a house, and killed a woman inside. The man at the wheel survived, telling investigators that the car was in self-driving mode. Here's CBS's Jason Allen.
And they all say that. The car was in self-driving mode. I think the next one, CBS, I think they said autopilot was.
Now to the alarming video showing a Tesla crashing into a home outside Houston in Katy, Texas, killing a grandmother inside that home. Here's Matt Rivers.
This is the moment a driver alleges he was using autopilot in a Tesla.
Yeah. And then the third network, ABC.
We're back with some wild video of a Tesla crashing into a home and killing a woman inside. The driver says the car was in assisted driving mode when it happened.
Yeah, so assisted driving mode, self-driving mode, autopilot. And they are all wrong. Hours before those reports came out on air, Elon Musk had put a statement out on X. The head of the self-driving department of Tesla had put out a statement on air. Now, all the networks also, I'm not going to play you the minute and a half that they all did on this. They all did a 90-second report that said almost the exact same thing. They all said that it was on self-driving or autopilot or some version of that. And they all said they reached out to Tesla for comment, but hadn't heard anything back. They hadn't heard any statements from Tesla. Well, if you would have looked for 5 seconds, you could have found it. If you followed Elon Musk on Twitter, you would have already seen it. But what they said on Twitter does not match the narrative. And I don't know if this was just driven out of flat out laziness. I don't know if the motive here, the modus operandi here was just to have the most sensational story because that's what's good for ratings. But I think you and I both sniff here. The same people that are embedded in the media and all these networks and all these newsrooms probably don't share political allegiances with the guy they're reporting on, and therefore a little more open to bias that makes him look ridiculous no matter how silly or untrue it may be. Because Elon, I can't play you where they reported the truth because it's not on there. I guess all I can do here is read for you off of X, but it's kind of a long paragraph. The guy who runs the full self-driving department, he says, listen, we have the logs. We have the car in constant connection. And these cars, especially the ones, the Teslas here, they have the airplane equivalent of a little black box where you can tell who hit what button right before the crash. And according to the log, the driver mashed the gas. It was on full self-driving. But like when in your car, if you're using cruise control and you hit the gas, the car speeds up, doesn't it? It doesn't just cram the brakes down and say, I'm sorry, you told me to only go 65. So you can override the cruise control. Well, you can override the self-driving by hitting the gas or hitting the brake. And so this guy had overridden it. Here's what I think happened. The guy's going through the neighborhood. He might have thought they were going a little fast. So he hit what he thought was the brake, but he got the wrong pedal. And the faster the car went, the harder he hit the brake. And when the car was going really fast, now it's going toward the house, you need to slam it all the way to the metal. And it crashed into the house. That's what I think happened. Is that reported? No. Will it be reported? It might not. It might be a story that they all reported last night. They all got it wrong. They're never going to come around and correct it. And so all of America that was paying attention and trust these people is left with the impression that what? Self-driving cars are dangerous. You got to be scared of self-driving technology. And Elon Musk is getting people killed. And Tesla's bad. And generally speaking, maybe anything we can say negative about him, hurt his stock, hurt his fortune, diminish this guy, take him down because he's got 4 million children killed by cutting U.S. aid. So there's nothing wrong about lying about it. Literally Hitler. Is politics ruining everything? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, more on the Tesla lies. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. If a Tesla on autopilot kills somebody, who goes to jail? Does the driver go to jail? Does Elon Musk go to jail? Does the guy who programmed the self-driving car go to jail? Does nobody go to jail? Is it just, oops, it's a boo-boo? Is it murder? Is it manslaughter? I don't know. We don't have answers to these questions because I haven't seen one of those cases yet. But we have something close to that happen in Texas. In fact, I thought that we had the scenario here because this just happened over the weekend in Houston. A Tesla that was reported by the local news, by all three of the big networks, that was on autopilot, crashed into a house, killed a 70-something-year-old lady. Horrible tragedy here, but Tesla says they have the logs, and the guy mashed the gas on his own and overrode the FSD, is what they call it, fully self-driving, and it's his fault. You know, I don't think fully self-driving is going to be 100% flawless in its initial rollout, but I think we're already to the point to where, and if you count the number of hours and miles driven, fully self-driving is safer than a human being behind the wheel of a car. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be perfect, but I'm really skeptical of the people who are scared of this or pushing back against this or just so gleefully reporting negative things about it that just are easily disproven, not true. And I can't help but think that maybe this is partially politically motivated because people have been trained to hate Elon Musk and therefore Tesla and anything Musk involved. And I really hope that's not it. Steve in Weatherford, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yeah, that's it. Because NASA had like 4,000 or 5,000 engineers and billions of dollars, and they lost 2 space shuttles and 14 astronauts. The Department of Defense with the Osprey, calamity. The 737 MAX, calamity. The standard bell curve in life says 5% of the time, weird, unexpected stuff's going to happen. We don't diminish the tragic loss of the lady in her home, but I'll bet you money Tesla cars have saved more lives than they've taken. And this is just something that happens as technology evolves.
So how do you explain all three of the major networks in their national newsrooms getting this wrong?
TDS.
It really is just that, isn't it? All right.
There's a common sense war going on in our country, and that kind of takes in everything, whether it's political or race or economic. Common sense has to rule all the subcategories.
Yeah, well, people have different definitions on what common sense is these days, Stephen Weatherford. I think we might have to first establish those ground rules. But thank you very much for calling in. That's the great Steve in Weatherford. So common sense would tell you that if you looked at what happened in the 20th century, capitalism, better than socialism. Yet here we are, a quarter of the way through the next century, and we're still having this argument. Ro Khanna was on Bill Maher's show on Friday, and Bill Maher is one of the reasonable Democrats on Team Blue. There is a faction of Democrat that's not crazy. That's not the Tallarico, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Bernie Sanders wing. I'm talking about the Bill Maher, Stephen A. Smith, Mark Cuban wing. The wing that Elon Musk was in until 4 years ago. So he is on with Bill Maher, and Bill Maher's trying to tell him, you do not need to go down this road. Socialism is not better than capitalism. We can believe all the other Team Blue stuff. But he was trying to cleave him away from the Democrat socialist wing of the party.
There's Democrats and there's Democrat socialists. I mean, those are two distinct parts of the same party. I mean, they are obviously in a coalition together, but people who are Democratic socialists make that distinction. They say, I am a Democratic socialist. That's Bernie Sanders, that's Mondami, that's the mayor of Seattle.
Well, first of all, we're in a different time than many people have seen income inequality soar, these wars that they don't like.
But you aren't a socialist, are you?
Well, I call myself a progressive capitalist, and I call myself for economic patriotism, rebuild the FDR coalition, but make sure it includes the Black South, where we're talking about building new factories in places like Pennsylvania, having new trade schools, having health care for everyone with Medicare for all. I believe having economic development and economic bill of rights, you can have a majority coalition. FDR did it. He did it 4 terms.
Yeah, the economic bill of rights. So, no, I'm not a socialist. I just support all the socialist policies. That's right. I'm not a socialist. I just want to socialize everything. I just want universal health care, and I just want universal education. I just want because he even said like Medicare for all in there. I want free everything, but I'm not a socialist. See, they're trying to have it both ways because they know socialism doesn't sell to the American people. They know socialists. Isn't that who we were fighting in World War II? Isn't that who we were fighting in the Korean War? Isn't that who we were fighting in the Vietnam War? And really, if you want to stretch it out, the Ba'ath Party of Saddam Hussein was the Arab version of socialist. So yeah, we can't stop fighting socialists in every war of the last 100 years. So you can't go out and say it because it's political suicide. But you can pull off this stuff like, no, I'm not a socialist. I just want to take money from other people and give it to you. The dangerous part is history shows you that that lie sells. But it's a great discussion to have because it is two members of Team Blue. So you can't say that one guy is just framing it because of political partisanship and he wants to make all Democrats look bad. Bill Maher is saying this out of, or he's trying to help him in this discussion. And I'm going to have two more clips for you coming up after the break and this back and forth between Ro Khanna and Bill Maher because this is for the soul of Team Blue. You want to find out who we're running against in 2028? It will be the fruit of this discussion. You'll hear it next on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Just having a little fun with the internecine civil war on Team Blue. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And you know what? The caller earlier was right. I gotta do a better job making sure my generalizations include the nuance that I intend. Because earlier I was talking about how Carmelo Anthony's parents raised him to hate white people and be racist and whatnot. And a caller said, well, look, black people don't raise their kids like that. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I didn't say that. But if some people interpret it like that, I got to do a better job cleaning that up. And so this is kind of what I'm trying to do here. Because I want Democrats to be able to listen to the show. I need everybody listening to this show. I don't want to run anyone off. And so you've probably never heard me say all Democrats are crazy or bad. But there is a section of the Democrat Party that is just unacceptable in the public discourse, and that is the Democrat Socialist Party, the AOC Bernie Sanders wing of the party. I don't understand how anybody can believe that after what we saw in the 20th century. And not only is it an interpretation of the Constitution and our statecraft that I disagree with, it has shown itself to be the most murderous, deadly ideology of all time, including religions. Leftism, whatever variety, socialism, communism, fascism, in the 20th century murdered about 100 million people. So that's why I'm against this farther wing. And in this, you're hearing a guy from the reasonable part of Team Blue have a conversation with the unreasonable part of Team Blue. And we're learning a lot. Because one reason we don't get to hear this conversation that much is Mom Donnie, AOC, they won't even go on Bill Maher's show, and he's a Democrat.
Like, people want to hear.
Oh, by the way, we're continuing with the conversation with Bill Maher and Ro Khanna, the Democrat congressman, on Friday's show.
Like, people want to hear from Andy Bashir, from Mamdani, from Pete Buttigieg. There are a lot of great people in the next generation. Thank you for your service. You've had your time. Let a new generation.
So you think Mamdani's a great one, huh?
I do. I mean, did you see his Knicks speech? I mean, anyone
not the
who's
issue that most concerned me. I don't
it's
need.
worth a watch because the speech was not just about the Knicks. First of all, he recites every Knicks player. I mean, I couldn't do that about the 49ers.
Gives a shit about the Knicks. He's the mayor of New York.
Well, yeah, but he talks.
Exactly. I find that entertaining. I could watch that all day, y'all. Troy in Midlothian, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Good afternoon, James.
Hey, Troy.
I just think you got to be a little bit careful with your praise of the fact that he's somewhat becoming, hospitable and common sense, because just the other day he said he's voting for Graham Flatner because he only makes sense. And he's an avowed communist. So no matter what he says, he's still always going to vote the way that he was trained.
Well, if you're a reasonable Democrat, you would prefer Plattner to Susan Collins. You and I just enjoy having that discussion because we've got all these liberals admitting that they would vote for a guy that has a Nazi tattoo. So that so undercuts any complaint that they have in the future about this. Sidney Sweeney's jeans ad is racist and that's intolerable. Oh, but the Nazi tattoo guy, you can go vote for him. So I think we're all enjoying this because it gives us so much ammo to use against them. But I think it's smart to encourage the reasonable Team Blue members, because you don't want the Mark Cubans and Bill Mahers, and I don't mean the celebrities, but the friends in your life that believe like them. You do not want them thinking, well, maybe this AOC isn't so bad. Maybe this Mom Donnie isn't so bad, because we're not going to win every election. And if we lose elections, I would much rather it be to a Team Blue member who believes in capitalism than one who believes in socialism. And the 20th century should make that just a no-brainer for everybody involved. Thank you very much. That was Troy in Midlothian. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. If you have some more time and you want to get some more James Show action, check out all the awesome videos I have up on various social media, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the TikToks, and also the podcast. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.